What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader playing a little catch-up with eBay closed sales, this time focused on mint on card vintage Kenner Star Wars items. We've got everything from early card backs all the way to the droids line. I wanted to play a little catch-up with some stuff that sold on eBay while I was out of town. Before I begin, I want to say thank you to my two latest Patreon supporters, Adam Berry and Mike Collins. Thank you guys so much for becoming Patreon supporters. My Patreon supporters allow this channel to happen, and you guys are new contributors to the channel. And all of my Patreon supporters, they allow me to try and make daily videos. It doesn't always happen, but I'm trying to commit to a video each day for you guys, just to keep you updated on prices and what's going on in the Star Wars universe. So let's dig right into some really awesome mint on card items. Later this week, I will show you guys both loose and loose graded vintage Kenner Star Wars figures. First up, we've got a 20 back Jawa. It was ungraded, it was unpunched, it did have a price sticker, a little bit of wave to the card. It does have the free Boba Fett offer sticker, and just a really nice item. The blister on this one had a little bit of mangling going on, but not too bad. Probably like a 75 plus, maybe an 80 gradish kind of quality. And the price on this was pretty good. $430 on 24 bids. This closed on May 25th plus $5.75 shipping. Probably, I'd say it's probably a 75. Probably a 75, just given that crease there. It's a very light crease, and you know, to the seller's credit, they were sure to show that in the light so you could take a look at it. But you know, the prices were all over the map in this batch. Everything from what I thought were overpays to some pretty decent deals. And I think this was a pretty good price given the condition. Really nice example of the 20 back Jawa. Here was another one that I thought was actually a pretty good price. This was a 12/32 back Leia. And these are very, very tough to find. This was a nice clear blister, unpunched with a price sticker, but what an awesome item. Just a little bit of damage there to the blister, as you can see on the top. But what's unique about these 1232s is that they take 12 backs and they use kind of overstocked 12 backs, I guess, and slapped on this 32 back sticker at the bottom of the back of the card back. So these are a tougher variant to find for these early card backs, and it sold for $900 plus $5.75 shipping. I think that's a great deal. I've seen some very, very high grade examples of this 1232 back go for double that price. So I think given the slight damage to that blister there, and again, I'll close in on that there, you know, this is probably like a 75 grade, but I think that's a very, very fair price. Next up, we had a 20 back Sand People. This one also had the Boba Fett offer, again, unpunched with a price sticker. Very nice example. A little bit of mangling again to the blister. I don't know what it is with these blisters on the first three here, but they all have kind of some light damage to it. That one sold for $407. $407 was a great price, I think, for that Sand People. And this is another one that was a pretty good deal, but you had to factor in the damage to the card, and that's the R5D4 on a 21 back. It had some wear to the hang tab there, but if memory serves, yes, it had a little bit of damage at the bottom to the stem of the blister. So, you know, that kept the price down, but we've documented several on the channel that have been closer to kind of 80 grade, 80 plus grade, that have sold for, you know, in the four figures, $1,000 to $1,500. So to get that for $246.50, I thought was a great deal. So congratulations to whoever got that one. That's probably like a 70 grade, but still, that's given the damage, and still it's an early card back for R5D4. R5D4, folks, has just gone through the roof lately, and I think it's partially because of him showing up in the Book of Boba Fett in those Mandalorian episodes. But that is a great price, I think, for a lower grade 21 back R5D4. Next up, we had a free Secret Star Wars action figure 21 back Walrus Man. This was a really nice example. A little bit of wear to the hang tab, and it looks like it has some sticker residue to the price sticker that was taken off in the upper right hand corner. But look how beautiful that blister was on that. Just a little bit of damage to it, probably like a 75. I'd say like a 75 grade is probably what this one would get. But again, I think that, you know, this price wasn't terrible, $711. This wasn't as good of a deal as some of the others we've just documented, but I think that's a pretty decent price for an early Walrus Man. Another beautiful one, and the price did not disappoint. This was the same card back for Greedo, and the sticker's starting to peel off just a little bit in that upper right-hand corner. A little bit of damage to the hang tab. I think this price was maybe a little high, but probably not too bad, just given what Greedos have done. It seems like early Greedos, especially, have gone up in price quite a bit. But I think, to me, this is probably a little higher than I'd go. This is probably more like $800, $900-ish, in my opinion, but, you know, to each their own. 1126 took that one on 31 bids. This seller just had a number of beautiful examples, and I don't know this seller, Toy Scout 2. I've heard bad things about that seller from other buyers or from other collectors in the community, but I think I've only bought maybe one or two items in the past from this seller, but you know, I've heard mixed bag. I've heard a mixed bag from this seller. This was a nice Death Star droid, same card back, a little bit of wear to the hang tab. It also had the price sticker, but that blister looked pretty clean. And here's the back of the card there. It has this sticker that went over the top of the back of the card back. A little bit of damage to that sticker, a little bit of peeling. It looked like someone tried to maybe peel it off. That one sold for $521. I think that price is pretty good there. This price surprised me a little bit. This one sold for $10.76. This is the 21 back A Death Star droid. Now, that's more than what I paid for my example, and admittedly, I did buy mine on Facebook from Rogue 5 Toys, but mine graded straight 85s with collector archive services, and this one sold for $10.76 again, and that's about, I'd say about 20% higher than what I paid for mine just, you know, earlier last year, maybe about 6-7 months ago. So that one has gone up quite a bit, and this was a little bit lower grade, probably a low 80 is what I would qualify this one for. But pretty nice example for the Death Star droid. Again, $10.76 plus $20 shipping took that one. And again, R5D4, man, I mean, his prices have just gone through the roof. This was a punched example, but very, very clean, probably 80 or 80 plus grade. That one sold for $1,525. Now, given that we just saw one of these that was an 80 plus grade, it was AFA graded 80 plus, I believe, that sold for just slightly more than this. I think that price was a little high, but you know, it is what it is. You're gonna have to pay up for early R5D4 figures, especially this 21 offerless figure. It's just a really popular card back for R5, and that price was just stratospheric in my opinion. Another one was the 21 back with the Boba Fett offer. Is that 21 or 20? I think, isn't that the 20 back? I don't feel like counting right now, but here it is. And it was a gorgeous power droid. 20, it says 21 back, but, you know, just a gorgeous example. Look at that blister. I mean, that blister is absolutely amazing. And it was punched with no price sticker, probably a low 80. That one sold for $1,026. I think that price is pretty good relative to where we've seen the power droid sell, like on Hakes, for example. And just a gorgeous example. This one was another one that sold. This one was the 21 back power droid, but this was the Kenner Canada. And you can see it's got the multi-language age, as well as the multi-language for the Secret Star Wars action figure, which again, of course, is for Bossk. It was only a CAS 70. It had a pretty heavy crease there on the front that was color breaking. And that one sold for $777. So, you know, I think because it was a foreign card back, and it's not one that comes up regularly. I don't know if I've ever seen this Canadian 21 back Empire Strikes Back power droid come up, at least recently. So when you get a rare foreign card back like this, even if it's lower grade like that, it's just very tough to find. And what an awesome card back with that multi-language French and English card there. So a beautiful example for the power droid. Here was another one that I do have in my collection. Mine is a clear blister. This was labeled as yellowed blister by AFA, but still is very, very slight yellowing. This is one that does tend to yellow quite a bit. This French Meccano rectangle card, Jawa, and here's the label on that. It was a uncirculated 80. We just documented in the last Hakes special Star Wars event auction a U-95 that sold for over $2,000. Again, this was a yellowed U-80. The subscores were 80, 85, and 85. It sold for $817. I think that price is pretty fair in the current environment. I have a U80 that's a clear blister that I paid a little bit more for, but again, that was several months ago before we've seen that recent price spike over the last 6 to 9 months. So I think 817 for a U80 with just slight yellowing to the blister is a great deal. And, this is a seller that, some collectors have said they're a little bit questioning as to whether these auctions are fair prices or not. Me personally, I did buy an AFA 85 Death Star droid loose graded from this seller, and I thought it was a pretty fair deal in the current environment. And I think this price was pretty fair. So you just got to be careful, and you never know who you're bidding against. Here was a gorgeous 21 back Boba Fett that looked legit. I mean, you always got to be a little bit careful, but it was unpunched with a price sticker there in the upper right-hand corner. Clear blister. And that one sold for $3,138 on 50 bids. I mean, we just talked about a number of different high-grade example Boba Fett's, both loose as well as some lower-grade mint on cards that sold, like that square French Meccano card in the last Hakes auction. But $3,138 seems to be a pretty fair price, just given what Boba Fett's have done. And this is an early ESB card back for him. Really nice example. So, I still think there's deals to be had out there. You just got to be patient, and you got to be really careful about what you're bidding on. And here's another one that I was so tempted to bid on, but I didn't. I was very good. This was the Canadian Yoda. It was labeled as a C9. I don't know if it's a C9. I would call it like a C8 probably. But it was a clear blister. Really nice unpunched example with no price sticker for that Canadian Yoda. And it seems like almost every month we get one of these that pops up in an auction. So these are pretty plentiful. You can see just a little bit of damage to the blister there in the upper left-hand corner. It looked like it might be cracked to me, but maybe that's just me. But if you happen to be the buyer of this one, I would love to know if that blister is cracked or if that's just a little bit of wear there. But right here in the upper left-hand corner, it does look like it potentially could be cracked, or a hairline crack right there. But I don't know for sure. I don't know. But the price stayed down as a result. $451 was the final sales price. We've seen some examples in similar condition that have sold for $600 to $650 recently. So maybe it was enough to concern bidders that this was a hairline crack versus just a light crease to that blister. So really nice example though. And I thought this was a fantastic deal. This was a 32 back Hoth Rebel Soldier, clear blister. Really, really clean. It did have some damage around the hang tab right there. And it was unpunched with a price sticker again. And just a gorgeous 32 back Hoth Rebel Soldier. And here's a good close-up of the light damage. This is probably a low 80 grade, in my opinion. But still, that's a pretty nice example for $296. $296. I think that's a great deal, whoever picked that one up. And this is another good deal. So, I mean, again, you got to, if you got some decent pockets, I'm not saying you have to have deep pockets for a number of these items, but, these are not cheap items. In the current environment where everything is expensive, inflation is up, the price of collectibles, not to mention cost of living type stuff is up, to pick up an AFA 80 41 back E original C3PO. This is the last card, to my knowledge, before they switched over to the removable limb C3PO. But this was a gorgeous clear blister. AFA 80, the subgrades were 80, 85, 85. It was punched, but that's a really good deal. $421.90 took that one, plus $14 shipping. I think that's, I don't know if you can really do any better than that in the current environment. This I thought was a fantastic deal. This was down in Australia. This sold for 660 Australian dollars or 476 US. And plus shipping, but this was a 41 back Bossk. It did have very, very slight yellowing, and I just think that with what Bossk figures especially have done recently, to get one with very slight yellowing, you can see the very slight yellowing on that side profile there, but nice straight card, unpunched, no price sticker. That's a fantastic deal, whoever picked that one up. Here was a 48 back C Snaggletooth clear blister. It was graded 70, 80, 80 were the subgrades for an overall 75. It was unpunched. It did have that litho damage right there on the front of the card back where someone tried to take that sticker off, unfortunately. But that one sold for $393. $393 is a great deal as well. And this is another one that I was so tempted by. I didn't look up the best offer accepted, so you'll have to excuse me there. But this is the transition card for the Cloud Car palette, just very slight yellowing. So tempting. If I can stay away from this, then I can stay away from anything for a while. I'm just trying to refill the coffers after my last Hakes bidding last month. So I really wanted this one, but I think that this would probably grade a 75 plus or maybe a low 80 if the grader is feeling generous. But I think that's a great price for a beautiful transition card, free Neonum offer for the Cloud Car palette. I mean, that yellowing is very, very minimal, very minimal. And that one sold, again, it was listed for $275.99 plus $10 shipping. Best offer accepted, probably was around, you know, the $250 mark. And that might be a clear blister. I don't know. It's very close. But that one was awfully tempting. I'm probably going to be kicking myself in about a month when I have some more money saved up. But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I've sold a bunch of stuff here recently, as I'm sure a number of you saw on Rogue 5 Toys. I sold some modern graded stuff. I sold a few comics. I sold some loose graded bootlegs. So I'm refilling the coffers because I'm really going after a big key CGC 9.8, hopefully in the next month or two. I don't know. I haven't decided what it is yet, but here's a good side profile. And on this side, it looks like it is slightly yellowed, but I think that's a great deal. I think that's a fantastic deal, whoever picked that one up. Got a few more before we round out the video. I thought this one was an interesting sale. I was watching this one. It was at auction. It was a clear blister AT-ST driver with the free Anakin Skywalker offer. This is the 79 back B. It was graded 80, 85, 75 were the subgrades. I don't know why it got a 75. 75 for the figure score seems a little bit low. You know, the blaster was still taped to the inside of the blister, so that's not what brought it down. They're basically knocking it from an 85 sub score for the figure all the way to a 75. And I know it might have maybe a little bit of yellowing around the torso, but it's very, very minimal. And that's a clear blister, unpunched, no price sticker. And, you know, the price didn't disappoint. $549 plus $16 shipping. That's a big number, but, you know, any clear later Return of the Jedi US card with, you know, a clear blister is going to sell for big money. That's just a fact. You know, we've seen it over and over again. But what a gorgeous example for the AT-ST driver for a figure that almost always comes yellowed. Another AT-ST driver sold. I thought this was a fantastic deal. This one is the Palatoy Tri-Logo. It is punched, just a little bit of wear to it, probably a low 80 grade in my opinion. Very clean card back. The blister, which is usually on these Palatoy Tri-Logos, beat up, but look how clean that blister is. This is not denting, by the way, for those of you who are not as familiar with Palatoy Tri-Logos. The Palatoy Tri-Logos can come with blisters that are rounded or etched. This is an etched blister. So a very nice example for $149.50 on 25 bids plus $9 shipping. I think that was a great deal there. This one surprised me on the upper end. This was a made in Mexico AFA 80 squid head. It did have the clear blister, which is common right now for these made in Mexico for the US card, the 77 back A. This is one I've got in my collection that graded straight 85s with collector archive services. Now, as a reference point, I bought mine for $1.50. I bought mine for $150 plus grading. After that, another $50 or so, $60. That one sold for $565. That's a high number. That's a high number in my opinion, but you know, that is a gorgeous example. Here was an AFA 85, very slightly yellowed Leia Bausch 65 back A. It was punched, no price sticker, but very clean. And again, another one that's very tough to find with a clearish blister. This is not nearly as yellowed as many of these examples can come. That one was listed for 980 Canadian. It did sell, best offer accepted plus shipping. And then here's the alternate card back for Han Solo with a clear blister with a free Emperor offer. And this is the 65 back, but it did have a litho tear at the upper end of the punch tab. So you can see that damage there. And that held the price down a little bit. $420. Again, that's probably fair, just given that the alternate card back for Han Solo and very high grade, I've seen very regularly sell for over $1,000, as high as $2,000, believe it or not, for a very, very high grade example. And then finally, I wanted to show this one. This was a CAS graded Sice From on the Droids TV series cardback, CAS 60, so a very low grade, but this is another one that continues to command big money. KB Toys, $1. $1 was the original sales price for this one, unpunched. You know, the punch is coming out a little bit, but it's a clear blister, and you know, it did have subgrades of 60, 70, 90. Lower grade size from just, you know, loose graded can sell for $700 to $900 very easily. So this one sold for $1,208 plus $14 shipping. So a big number. And size from is one that, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, this would probably sell for $500 to $600. So now you can double that. So that just shows you how much that figure in particular has moved up. Size from and Tig from, especially on the Droids cardback, really have gone up quite a bit in price. That's all I really had for this video. I hope you enjoyed looking at some recent prices. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.